This is Lake Bracciano. It's about an hour and a bit from Rome by train. And it's here that Burgess and his second wife had a little dwelling in a square called Frying Pan, Piazza Padella. It's just wander down this alleyway here, and you'll come to the little house. It's a pleasant place. Bracciano's a little bit like Caerleon in the Var, and in an earlier episode of In Search of Anthony Burgess, we had a look at Burgess's house in Caerleon. It's a little larger, the Caerleon house, but it's the same kind of situation. These places are absolutely dead. I mean, they're very quiet indeed, which is a great contrast from the hubbub of either Rome or Monaco, especially in the summer when it's very hot and the places are swarming with tourists. It's nice to come here to Frying Pan Square and you can get on with some writing. It's comparatively cool. There's the breeze coming up from the lake, and it's absolutely delightful. Burgess writes in his autobiography, in the second volume of his autobiography, which is called You've Had Your Time, being the second part of the Confessions of Anthony Burgess. He writes about the little house.
The house dated from about 1485 and was probably one of the dwellings of the ostlers or scullions who served the castle.
Actually, when I read that, it brought to mind the Mervyn Peake masterpiece, to which, incidentally, Burgess wrote a preface in, I think, the late 60s. Burgess continues.
It was up on the sentinella with a fine view of the lake and situated in Piazza Padella or Frying Pan Square. To state that we were buying a house was an exaggeration. It was part of a house only. A bedroom with a kind of antechamber, a pair of bathrooms opening onto a corridor, ancient stairs leading to a long salon and a tiny kitchen, further stairs going up to a roof-terrace. Here the eyes dazzled with laky light. The house was already furnished minimally. An iron bed, a table, a stove fed by gas bombs, ragged easy chairs, and an old couch that was to be Andrea's temporary bed. The topography of the house, which had been less built than allowed to accumulate, was difficult to visualize. The Signora Elena, who occupied part of it, was known only as a pair of thundering feet above the bedroom. A single cave at ground level seemed to house a whole growling family that came and went in a seasonal cycle.
Burgess also has a passage in which he discusses the character of the people of Bracciano. He writes,
The Braccianesi lacked the southern grace that Forsterians expect from their Italian visits. They mostly called themselves communists, and the hammer and sickle of the PCI glowered from innumerable posters. They hadn't seen an Englishman for a long time, and they assumed that I was German. Because Liana spoke English, they called her L'Americana. A travelling vegetable vendor refused to be disabused of my imposed Teutonism and regularly called
Lei è tedesco, no? Guten Morgen, Deutschland kaputt.
It was no good my protesting sono inglese. I was disguising myself as a Briton to evade punishment for wartime crimes. Still, all that was forgotten now. History was a burden Italians were only too ready to unshoulder.